Very nice. So let's start. Hello and a warm welcome from OneLimbs and my side. My name is Philip Osterwalder, and a warm welcome to today's webinar, How to Boost Your Daily Lab Work. With me, we have a special guest today, which also shares some deep insights and knowledge about her extraordinary work as a laboratory manager in several fields about food safety, microbiology, and as a lab manager in one of the biggest food production companies in Switzerland. Welcome, Stefania Cesarano.
Hi, Philip. Thank you very much to being your guest. It's really, I'm thrilled to be here. As Philip mentioned, I was over 30 years lab manager, different food segments, microbiology. I loved it, really. And I can tell you a few stories. You can see it afterwards. Right now, I'm a key account manager at Namis Technologies. They are having rapid methods detecting pathogens in food, environmental monitoring. But right now, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much for joining and for your time. We'll get back to you and at a couple of slides later. So let's check what's on the plan for today. So we will have as insights 3 different topics and then the closing. So we will start with challenges, overall challenges in a QC lab or also in a service laboratory. And we will follow with the data and the workflow management. How about the operations and the processes, how we can look at them, how we can analyze and optimize them, and what kind of benefits and added value will gain out of digitalization and automation. At the end, we will have a short Q&A session and the outlook for a couple of information from our side. So, as you maybe mentioned, the couple of general information, we will record this session. If you have any kind of questions to Stefania or myself, write directly in the comments. We will collect them and we'll ask them at the end. And if we don't have time for this, you will get a separate email with the answer to your question. If you have any kind of interests about the presentation and the slides we shared today, contact hello@onelimbs.com. On request, we can send it to you at any time. So hop on directly into the daily lab work. So myself, I'm a laboratory technician in biomedical engineering, and I'm a lab technician as a passion. And we stay on the bench every day at different kind of laboratories in manufacturing companies and service labs, biomedical laboratories, and so on. And we face different kind of challenges, but we want to put them together about the main challenges we face, and we talk over and over again. I discussed this before with Stefania. So since a couple of years, we always talk on the main things and the main challenges in a laboratory over and over again. So let's face on the processes overall, and most of them are error-prone and highly complex, so time-consuming. Working with paper and pen, working with several Excel sheets. We will get back to this kind of topic later, but the highly complex workflows and processes are one of the main challenges. So looking at the data, especially, there are unstructured, there are heterogeneous data, there are fragmented, there are kind of in siloed, different kind of departments. They are working on HPLC. There are some raw data or metadata. We have a kind of several Excel sheets, as mentioned before, and they are not connected and can't be used in an easy way to evaluate and to gain more insights. So this is very time consuming and needs a lot of effort. Mentioned also, so the data are in the lab. It gets even more data we collect in several laboratories, but they are not connected, they are not structured, not homogenic, to can be used maybe from one central system or even from a couple of systems, but in the same way it should be, to gain knowledge, to gain insights, to take better decisions about them. So traceability is a big topic about this. So who did what and when and why? This is kind of a lack of control over data and also over the processes. Traceability is a big topic. Also get back to this to a later slide, where we're talking about traceability of processes and the data itself. How can this be reproduced and tracked? So also annotated data is one of the bigger topics in the laboratory. Difficulties in tracing. So you see also here on the right kind of an example of an Excel sheet. How can this be tracked and traced back to the origin or to the metadata overall? This is not possible, even if you have kind of different versions and versioning or change control, and over that is highly difficult to get an overview about this. So there are kind of the main challenges over data, processes, and connectivity. And connectivity is one specific point where after the digitalization, there is the automation, a more important thing to automate the routine, the daily work, and also the value-adding workflows. But this is kind of a different challenge, and I think also this could be an own topic within a webinar where we can talk about the heterogeneous zoo in a laboratory, about the difference of devices and how they can be connected and what kind of benefits and added value this can bring, to bring them all on the same page, to talk to each other, talk or speak the same language and exchange data, and what kind of knowledge and also insights this will bring to boost the productivity of a laboratory. Maybe a lot of you attendees know this kind of problem. Now I want to give the word to Stefania, to her expertise and to share some knowledge and insights about the standard situation in a lab today.
Thank you very much, Philip. I'm really pleased. And every time I went into a lab, it was more or less the same. For me, it was always really stressful. I'm some kind of really standardized, organized mind I have. And then if you look at the stressful situation you're in there, if the processes and the data are some kind of chaotic, you have to, at least it was my firm, in my place, I wanted to do some kind of optimization, really important. You remember the slide before with these cupboard Excel sheets, paperwork. Yes, one more. Yes, this one. This was really one of mine. I can really say it. I had more or less, it was a main lab. I had more or less about 20 stakeholders, more than 30 different Excel lists, and everybody really wanted something else. There was really, everybody was dealing with meat. Actually, we should think, okay, meat, everything the same. No, everybody wanted something else. And this is something really time-consuming for the data management. Philip was talking about metadata, to look at the handwritings and so on, unnecessary analyzings. Why should I do all that? And for the technicians itself, for them, somehow it was clear, because they said, okay, we're having our samples, we're doing it like always, 20 years, no problem. Getting into such kind of a lab, onboarding, confusion, really stressful confusion. And they didn't mind the higher workload somehow. The other one was 3 languages, Switzerland. We do have German, we do have French, Italian. And I think this was some kind of more confusion. Well, I speak all those languages, no problem. But I knew my technicians, they always said, oh, Stefania, French, please, talk you to them. I mean, and all that somehow to put in one big family doing all the same, that's a good question and a hard work. My customers or my stakeholders, they just sent it samples in. No labeling, no order what to do with them. My technician always said, oh, no problem. I know what to do with these sausages. Okay. But you see, this is really, I didn't know how many samples they came in. Did they really send them? Yes or no? So really a lot of administration. Then, for sure, customers receive wrong results. Bashing the laboratory often. I was always there picking up the phone and saying to them, listen, just give me a second, I will look at it. And so it was always this stress. And I knew at that time I could do it differently. Please, the next. Yes. This is also a standard situation, always to blame the lab. If something not right, the lab did the mistake, we are sure. And this is some kind of, I always wanted to have with our stakeholders a good relation. So there was really a lot of talking to tell them, really, we did everything okay, but we couldn't show it. Next, please.
I think this is just as a question or an input. I think this is one of the worst case scenarios I can imagine, that the customers will receive wrong results on a certificate of analysis or a test report. And then it decreases kind of the, you know what I mean? They don't trust the results, not anymore. And this is something like the worst thing that happened.
Yes, and you have to think also, we were talking more than 30 Excel lists. Some stakeholders told me, yes, this result, you have to put in list A and list B and list D. And then put it on the right way. And with no order, nothing, they just said, the lab will do it. And if there's something not good, we blame the lab. So there was really some kind of also lack of overview. You must think of, I had also always in the cupboard behind me, all this paper, handwriting paperwork, stress, poor. I had no visibility about what was going on 3-4 weeks ago or 1 year ago. The challenge to have this data searching really, not only for 2-3 minutes, mostly for an hour, to look where is this data we are talking from. I couldn't just make a summary of the data. No, I have to look each paper. So the other thing is handwritten labels. If labeled, sometimes I couldn't read it. And there also my technicians, really, they were wonderful. They said, oh, no problem. I know this handwriting. Oh, it's blah, blah, blah. It's this one. And I was there and said, you sure? And then pick up the phone again and call the clients. So maintaining daily operations. You have to do so much things, and it was inefficient. But still, the business has to continue. This was the problem. And we are not talking when there was an emergency. We are talking about routine analyzing, nothing else. It could be 20 samples, but it also could have been 200. We didn't know. And there was always the same. If you want to change something, why? We've always done it this way. And this mindset, just to say, listen, let's try it differently. I know it's going to be better. That was hard work. But, and we see the next slides, it was great. Okay, my biggest challenges, really, can you read this? That's a swap. I'm some kind of hand.
No idea.
Here it's beginning. Philip, this is what I'm meaning. Here it begins that mistakes can happen. The next, please. Number of samples. How can you coordinate your technicians and all of them, some kind of part-time workers, 50%, 60%, not working on Wednesday, if you don't know the numbers of the sample that's coming in? I told you, sometimes 20, but on other days, 200. And then some of the technician has to go at 2 o'clock to pick up their children. It was really, Philip. It was okay, a lot of energy put in, but it was stressful. No labels. You can see it on the picture on the right side. A lot of samples, no labels. The lab knows how to do it, I'm sure. But here is the stress of making mistakes, having a lot of pressure. Also the technician. I was responsible as a manager. But the technician, this pressure to look at all these samples and put them right, this is also stressful.
So the lab days are kind of very busy. So the errors can be done very quickly and without any kind of traceability or overview and checking mechanism is pretty hard to get a control and the overview about this. So
right.
totally agree. And within this status, I think the pain was big enough to think about the digitalization and further on automation on the main important or most important workflows, kind of microbiology, which we will see to a later stage. So let's conquer the next chapter of the data and the workflow management itself, the processes. So what we from One Limbs have kind of used and developed are a unique method how we're going to implement digitalization projects together with our clients and the lab team. This is very important. So where we start is kind of an in-depth assessment of the actual status quo. What's kind of the most important processes? What's the KPIs of the laboratory, QC, QA of the service lab itself? We do kind of a value stream or a SIPOC to get a better overview about all of these topics. How is the data flow? And at least how is the culture of the team itself? How is the communication working? This is something like Stefania mentioned, very important also within a team. Is there the mindset about changing something, wants to change something? Is the pain big enough to go within this transformation together? Then the next step is kind of, is it necessary to optimize, streamline processes before to start the digitalization, the transformation? So there is kind of an easy question related to what's the goal of the process and how efficient or effective is this process? And based on these two questions, it can be determined if this step in between is necessary or can be looked over. And in the third phase, there starts about the implementation of the OneLIMS platform as a laboratory information and management system to do the onboarding, to the training, to get a better understanding of the benefits and the added value that the whole team stands behind it and supports it, this digitalization together. And after a while working together with this new solution, then it starts to think about what's the routine kind of, I call them donkey or monkey work, which gets up every day, is kind of comparable to copy and paste. What's that kind of work and can be automated? And also what brings the most value to send automatically reports to the specific client or stakeholder, to get direct integration to ERP, and the status of this specific product or sample gets updated instantly, and so on. This kind of specific examples. And from our side, which is kind of what we provide right now, is best practice webinars, trainings, how can be better worked, safety worked in a laboratory, or also what we do with collaborators and partners to provide innovative ideas, new tools, like we did last year together with the food safety event. This is something like we have as one of our most important topic to share knowledge, share expertise, and to grow together, to make lab work more safe, more accurate, and more sufficient. So within this analyzed status, we have 4 main topics. This is the first phase of any kind of digitalization project we do. So we do the in-depth assessment, which I mentioned before. This gives a quick overview about the workflows, kind of the laboratory processes and their health status or their fitness, the data flow, where it comes from, where it goes, what kind of format does it have, and the connectivity and the communication within the lab team and their connected departments. So this is a very quick but holistic analysis about the 3 main topics, about the workflows, processes, the data flow, and also the connectivity and communication. When we start such project, we involve at the very first stage every lab team, every lab employee, that it gets heard, it gets the feeling it's important to get this supportive understanding, and it's easier to walk together through this kind of change. It's because change is always troubles. It makes always things messy, and also Stefania mentioned before, within this change by side there is the daily business, which has to be run, and the work won't get less during kind of change processes. Through this analysis in the first phase, it can be one of these goals is to define the requirements and the needs of this specific customer or specific lab to get a customized solution. Because of this customized solution, implementation can be much faster. And within our implementation projects, we talk about 3 to 6 months of implementation and a digitalization of a complete QC laboratory. And this is kind of a rapid implementation from the first kickoff to then the usable go-live implementation. To get a little bit hands-on, a little bit more insights about what's within this assessment at the beginning of the phase, you can see here kind of a multi-moment analysis of daily lab work. And we track those together with the client. And what we find out is that 2 parts of them are the biggest. So 25% is the reporting, the review, the documentation, archiving, and the creation of reports, test reports, or certificate of analysis. And the 24%, the dark red one, is more administrative work, data management, data handling, copy and pasting, clean up Excel sheets, change control of master data, kind of test units, parameters, methods, and so on. And combined, these are nearly 50% of a daily lab technician or a scientist that gets burned just by data management, data handling. So to break it down, that a QC lab, or even more precise, more specifically, a service laboratory, just earns money by providing results to their clients. That's the same for a QC lab internally in a company or a production company, which has to produce results to get approval for a specific charge or batch of a product or an article, that it gets approved to be sold. And this is the same kind of, at less time, lab technicians and scientists are committed to do management, data management, to be precise, the more analytical stuff they can do. That's kind of the most important thing to keep an eye on, which we mentioned before, kind of the value stream. What kind of value is actually generated within this quality control and laboratory? If we can see kind of within the optimizing phase on a chart between efficiency and effectiveness. So most of the companies, production companies, think that they are in between, something like around the red dot. And by digitization means that they want to have one tool, one single tool that provides the most important things in the digitalization of these workflows. But it doesn't mean that the highly complex and needs effort processes are more effective than before. This is just more efficiency and can be optimized, but there are even error prone. What our approach is to think about the workflows, the processes first, to challenge them at best, to streamline them if it's possible. And then digitalize these streamlined processes to gain value in two dimensions, in efficiency and more effectiveness in the laboratory. And this can be sustainable, and this can be kept by the laboratory itself, and rethink over and over again to also streamline old workflows or even the new ones to implement those. So now I want to get back to you, Stefania, to talk about more the culture and the team spirit in the laboratory itself.
Yes, that was something. It's not only culture and team spirit, it's something from my side, it's always coming from the heart, because you work together with all these people. And it was really also for me stressful to see the workload they had. So what to do now? We needed standardization, we needed optimization. This was clear already after 1 week of onboarding on that lab. But it was not only that lab, also the other labs I was in. So what to do now? It was important to gather all of the technicians together, communicate, and tell them what we are going to do. And that's it. Communication is very, very important to build confidence, not just to say, hey, listen, I will do everything, you just follow me. That's not the way it is. Culture is something else. Culture will means empowerment. Where are the skills? Build them up, because I know every of my technicians, they had big skills. So delegating the work or the responsibility also of some kind of a work to the employees was very important to me. And all this together means trust. And if you trust in the whole team, you can do wonderful things. I know that, Philip. Okay, what can you do with all this? Sure, culture and team spirit means promoting the balance. That means if you have this balance in your team, it's easier to say, look, can you please, can you do this for me? I have no time. Sure, no problem. It's together. It's being respectful. And I told you before, I had mostly in my labs actually part-time staff. And then respect that they had to go at 2 o'clock because the nursery was closing. They had to pick up their children. So it was important to tell them, look, with the standardization, with the optimization, you can do it easily. And I tell you, we did it. I did job coordination. I did the planning. That meant really every morning, 6:30, shop floor. What are the orders? What to do? Do we have some kind of controllings, cleanings, and so on, so that everybody, it needs 10 minutes, knew what to do. Sure, you had to invest, or I had to invest in training and support, but it's my job. I'm the chief of somebody. So I want them that they have all the same communicated words. We were all aligned. And this is something. But, now a big but, I could do whatever I wanted in my lab, no problem. But without the support of the management backing me on my side, this is important because you can't do any change management without the supporting of the management itself. Hard work to do all that, but it's really worth it. It was great to work. Oh, I got goosebumps. It was really good to work afterwards like this. Sure, what do I have to do? Improvement. That's it, improvement. I had some kind of tools to leveraging really the situation. I knew, Philip, you came to me, when was it? 2017?
I think about that.
18? I knew I need something, an easy to use system, because I had technicians, also older ones, 55, 56 years old. Not everybody is skilled in computer. Okay, it must be easy, accessible really to everybody. It must be not only digitalization, also the method. Okay, we did a lot of ISO methods, the golden standard in microbiology. They are much more rapid, faster analyzing, and have to look for it. What else? What tools did I have else? Please, yes. Okay, my minimizing expenses. If I don't think that my former chief is here right now, but he made some pressure. We will see it afterwards on another slide. But the standardization sure leads to minimizing the costs. The job rotation, everybody knew what to do. It's Tuesday. Okay, on Tuesday I'm doing this. I'm looking at the planner. Great. With all this digitalization, I wanted to minimize the errors, not only for my clients, also for my technicians. They were really sometimes afraid to put some result in out of specification, for example. Can I do that? Is this right? Sure, there is always, and we'll look afterwards at a four eyes principle to look at that. But at that moment when I began working there, they were really afraid of finding bacteria and put them into some kind of Excel list. So, and another tool was sure, seamless interface. There were different digitalization. They have to talk to each other. Let it say it this way. I loved it, by the way. this work. Now,
let's go into some examples from your lab.
yes, right. Advantages and added value. This was really the biggest thing I had to change. All this handwriting, really, with a one lens, I could print out QR codes. QR codes for every single analyzing. And who knows microbiology, we needed also different concentrations, for example. Everything was on that label. So this added value was to be faster in preparation of the sample. They came already in labeled. We knew what to do because the order was made the day before. And that was the leveraging of speedness, just because it was so easy to put these labels on the plates or on the bags. It was really worth changing it in for the sample preparation. Not anymore 4 or 5 hours preparations, but 2 hours of preparation. And this is really something good, because this person you can put into the next value. Results, for example, also by QR code. Just, we did have a tablet. You can also do it by iPhone, a phone, no problem at all. But also this, by scanning the QR code with the tablet, it just popped off on the right side where to put in the result. And here it was again, this pressure I could take from my technicians, because they were afraid to put a result into all these Excel lists, wherever they were. It was really, and you were faster, because it was easy, digitalized. Don't forget, I had to do a lot of work before. Master data, Philip.
True. That's very important to know that and be clear about that. What kind of leverage does it gain for the team, and also relief to fully focus on what you really love to work in a laboratory and to be together with the lab team. So I want to go a step ahead and just look more into the benefits and the added value, Stefania. And I think you have also some kind of experience to share about more benefits and added value from your digitalization and lab manager experience.
Right. And I think everybody who knows me now, the goals we achieved, teamwork, it was great. I had such a great team because we were sharing the same vision. We were working for the same goals. It was really a partnership between us, not only with one glimpse, but it was also together as a team. It was a partnership. Then, sure, with one glimpse, a startup collaboration, it was great because there was something new. It was something really some kind of exploding your mind, because you could do so much things alone, because it was easy. I didn't have to talk every time to Philip and say, listen, no, I can do a lot of things myself. What else benefits, Philip? Yes, right. The more you get this team spirit, there is a motivation. And with motivation, you can do really a lot of things. We were growing. And you know, I'm small. I was also growing some kind of. But this was that. we were really, it was a boost. LIMS implementation increased our workflows by over 50% because we were faster and accurate. The error reduction really, here it's over 80%. I think we were much more. Because, and again, this pressure on the technician was not there anymore. And minimizing these human errors brings your team to stay there and say, hey, don't blame us. We did it right. Confident. And also one thing, sure, digitalization, we did reduce the paperwork over 90%, and I was happy. I didn't have on my back all this cupboard with these papers, and this was really one of the biggest benefits for myself and also for my team. To look, or we didn't search any more results. We just clicked, 2 clicks, and I had my results. That was great.
Amazing. Is very fruitful to get those insights directly from you. So you brought 2 real-life case examples. What kind of KPIs changed during or after this digitalization? And one of those examples are the sample throughput, right?
Correct. This was really great work. We were so much faster. And I'm talking about the sample preparation. Really, at the beginning, it was 4 to 5 hours, just sample preparation. We could reduce it to 2 hours. And in that time, what can you do? You analyze more. And this was the great thing. We could 5 times more samples we had. And if there were really 200, then it were 200. We had time to do that. Sure, it was not only the sample throughput that we put on. It was also implementing a new analyzing. Faster, better, and so on. PCR. And that was great because we knew the throughput of the samples, we can challenge it anyway.
That's really nice to know, and to have this buffer, there is more to reach for. And also very impressive to see the numbers of your second example about the costs and what kind of savings you gain through this digitalization.
Yes, right. I still can hear my chief. He said to me, Stefania, we have to reduce the costs. Your lab is too expensive. Let's make a target. And he told me, I have to reduce my cost 60,000 francs. That's a lot. And first I thought, how to do that? Actually, it was easy. Because if you can see, well, above the target value, 60%, because the savings, the next year, it was 150, more or less, 1,000 francs. So the financial payoffs, good. It was great. My chief said, Stefania, okay, go on. The cost reduction was really a success. And also for my team, I could show them the KPIs. I could show them, look, that's what we did last year. And again, goosebumps, because I think that's really empowering the team to see such things.
That's really amazing to have these hands-on insights and to see this on a paper or even in a presentation, what kind of savings through the year gained through the whole teamwork with the digitalization, with this kind of culture change, and all of these small things you changed in the laboratory, which leads then to a huge added value. This is really amazing.
Right.
Thank you very much, Stefania. I would go ahead to the last couple of slides and the last couple of minutes. So in every webinar, I want to present some of our partners and collaborators. So I want to share within this webinar NEMIS, which we work together to automate detection of rapid testing of pathogenic germs and hygienic management, and also to work on custom projects together. Another of our collaborators is Metron, a lab device supplier from Switzerland. Maybe some of the visitors today working with some of Metron devices using Omnis. I can share that we have a direct integration from our OneLabs platform to all Omnis devices and have there a nearly plug-and-play solution for this. And also some other collaborators in the field of service laboratories, which we also provide from our OneLabs platform, a direct integration to several leading service laboratories in Switzerland and also global leading service labs. This makes it much easier to enter the orders for parameters and some test units and get the results back fully automated within this integration. Also, which I want to present and share some of our competence experts. These are kind of a few. The head of NEMIS is Dr. Mario Hupfeld, which is the CEO and co-founder. Also, Dr. Christoph Lustenberger, where we work together as a partner. He's a black belt in Lean Six Sigma and also a lecturer on the Zurich University of Applied Science, and supports us in lean management and applying Lean Six Sigma to laboratories. And the last one is Roger Schelbert, is working on robotics, automation, and image processing, which we also collaborate to get the lab pilot. This is kind of another product to design workflows, to manage workflows, and also to automate workflows on a cloud-based solution, which has a scheduler in it and have the full automated high sample throughput automation possibilities. This kind of a digital laboratory assistant. Now we came to the outlook. I want to share with you the next webinar, which is on the 3rd of March, the same time. Scan the QR code to get directly to this webinar, or also join if you're interested in how to apply Lean Six Sigma methods beneficially to a quality control laboratory. The next webinar we have a guest, and we will welcome Dr. Christoph Lustenberger on that. Also to share some case studies from our side, how to analyze and optimize workflows, quality processes, lab data flow, and connectivity in the meat industry, or also do a rapid, quick lab fitness test by scanning the QR code and take 5 minutes and 10 questions to get better insights about your lab operations. Now we are at the questions itself. And now to the audience, are there any questions to me or even to Stefania about challenges, about anything related to laboratory and digitalization? Any questions directly to Stefania? No, doesn't seem. So what would be interesting from my side, how you convinced your boss to decide for getting a LIMS system or any kind of digital solution to boost and enhance your productivity in the laboratory? How you convinced your boss?
Beside of the costs.
Beside of the costs.
Okay. Actually, I had to show him the chaos
Uh-huh.
I had to show him how many times there was some kind of handwriting we couldn't read. Just being half a day in the lab, it was convincing enough.
Uh-huh.
Because he saw all the work we had to do. I put him with the sample preparation, of the analyzing, of the handwriting on the plates, and also because every technician has another handwriting if you're doing it fast, and all that leading to mistakes, leading to, and you said it by with this MMA, 50% of our work was really administration.
Mhm.
And to see all that and give it a chance, really, for this project a few years ago, I think actually it was easy afterwards. But to put the management into the lab, let them work, they say, why are you doing like this? You could do it otherwise. And think it was this. Just let him see it and feel it.
Very important too. Nice. One last question from my side. I don't think we get any kind of other questions so far, but would be interesting from my side, so personal. What's your outlook on future technologies or future kind of lab operations? Where do you see the trends in the near future? What's changing in the near future in the laboratory?
I mean, I began working in laboratory at 1986. It's a long time ago. It's okay. I mean, if you think what changes we made then already by new analyzing devices, for example, not always stick to these plates, this ISO. I think, and it's going really on, the whole combination now of digitalization with middle layers, with interfaces connecting directly to the operational side. For example, this is something that leverages really a lot of work, because then it goes directly. It's only in the lab you can validate your result as lab manager. You look at it, validate it, and then operation side can look at it. And I think being faster but accurate, sure, must be the real accurate, reliable results. I think to go there in digitalization, but much more automation, I think this is our future. Well, actually, I would like just to have some kind of a probe, put it into some kind of sample, and they're saying me, okay, you have Listeria, you have that amount of Enterobacteriaceae. That would be really great. But I think let's begin first with the automation.
An AI box where you can put your samples in and it tells you everything about the sample you want to know.
In 5 seconds.
Question.
5 seconds, not more. This is maybe 10, 20 years, I don't know. But I think a lot to do digitalization and automation. This helps.
Nice. Can agree on that. Great. We are all already at the end of today's webinar. I want to thank you very much, Stefania, for your time and for sharing your knowledge and your valuable insights with us. I'm always happy to have you, or to talk to you and to exchange with you. And it was a pleasure to have you on our webinar today.
Philip, thank you also. You guys, I love you all. And it was a pleasure to be here. Seeing next time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much, Stefania. Have a good one. And hopefully we're looking forward to get some of you to our next webinar, how to apply Lean Six Sigma efficiently to our lab, QC lab, and would be great to see you at our next event. Looking forward to. Have a great day and stay safe in the lab. Bye-bye.
Bye.